Hey, everybody. Welcome to another day of surviving quarantine by spreading life. And I am so excited because today I have Kevin with me. And Kevin is somebody that I've got to learn through LinkedIn, but in that aspect of learning more about him, you are such an amazing person and your positivity, your purpose, and how intentional you are in creating spaces for conversation.
Mm.
So I am honored that you're here today to speak with us.
Oh, thank you, Emily. And I'm thrilled to be here with you and you, whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are joining us on the live stream, or if you see it sometime later. I'm thrilled to spend this time together.
Yes. And a part of that is I do want to ask people to continue to like, subscribe, and share, as our goal is to bring positivity to your news feed. But also, the beauty in this, too, is that you can comment. So I know that Facebook is having some little glitches. So if we do not put up your comments, I'm sorry. We will get to them later. But please leave your comments. Tell us where you're from or where you're listening in from. And then if you hear something that's some dialogue between us and you're like, hey, I have a question, please ask, because
Yeah.
that's what we're here for.
So, Emily, I want to ask a question about the title
Mm-hmm.
Surviving Quarantine by Spreading Life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, what if we can do more than just survive
Oh,
quarantine? What if
amen to
we
that.
can
Mhm.
actually thrive during quarantine? Wouldn't that be amazing? I
I
mean,
agree.
hey, we've got to survive. I mean, I am not diminishing the name. We've got to survive. But what if, in addition to surviving, we find ways to thrive? The way I think of it is, what if we can flourish more than we flounder? And let me be clear, Emily, I do both. Flourish and flounder on the same day. It's a continuum, right? And it's
Yeah.
back and forth. But what if overall we flourish more than we flounder? That's my hope.
Oh, yes, I agree so much. And that's the thing. Surviving's the base of it. But our goal in this is to continue to bring positivity and nourishment for people because, as we've said throughout this whole entire time, that it seems like we're all in the same storm, but we're not on
Mm.
the same boat. Some people are in
Oh,
kayaks, some people are in yachts. My husband is in a yacht. This has not affected him one bit, and he loves it. Actually, this is like his thrive time because he loves to stay home. He loves to have his people that he has to talk with, and not anymore. And then there's me. I am on a kayak. And this is a way for me to get my people feel
mm.
and also be able to give positivity, something that I desire for people to wisdom. It's just something I've always sought after. And I think that's the reason why I love that you're on here, Kevin, is because you are so wise in your teachings, but you're also wise again in your intentionality. So to get that started, can you just give a little brief introduction about yourself and what you do?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, brief introduction. What I say now is I've had a lot of lofty titles throughout the years. The title I love most now are husband, dad, papa. We have a granddaughter who's almost 5. Got to be with her yesterday, socially distant and air hugs, which just aren't quite the same. And then friend. So in my work, I host a podcast called the Higher Purpose Podcast. When you talk about purpose and positivity, Emily, everything I do is around purpose and positivity.
Mhm.
We need more of that in the world. So wanting to bring that to life, working with leaders and a certain kind of leaders. There are 3 2-word pairings that describe the leaders that like me and I like them, or that we connect, right? They're purpose driven, people focused, and values based. So helping
Mhm.
those types of leaders who recognize that they are, you use the word intentionally, they are intentionally doing business differently.
Mhm.
What I say, they have chosen the road less traveled in business, leadership, and life. I work with leaders like that to help them and their organizations flourish.
Mhm. I love that. And I want to, this is not really what we're supposed to be talking to, but I do want to ask this question right here. Because for me, it was something I had to learn. And actually, Sandy Anderson is the one that actually taught me this, is that with clients or people that I have communication with that I'm going to do in-depth work with, making sure that the values match up so that it does not like overwork our brains, because I've had clients that I love dearly, but some of their philosophies never matched up. So how important is it in just aspects? It doesn't matter if it's friends, family, work, making sure that your sphere of influence and you match, not like-minded, but like-hearted.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, Emily, 100% with you on that. The projects that I have taken, okay, so a couple of the most um, big names, that boosted my ego of organizations to work with, and some of the projects that had the most dollar signs attached to them drove me crazy because there were values mismatched that I wish I had discovered sooner. And yeah, I think for us to have maximum impact and effectiveness between a client and the consultant coach you're using, there really has to be values alignment. And I've just learned that now, and that's why I
Mhm.
start calling it out. And so I want people seriously to either love me or go, that guy's crazy. He's not for me. And that's okay, because if you think I'm crazy and I'm not for you, then you're not for me either. And we
Mhm.
would not we would just find more frustration. But if all of a sudden, so here are the people I get when we're talking, they go, "Oh my gosh, he's speaking my language."
Mhm.
Right? They're saying things I wish someone else would say, and let's work together. And then it's just easier because we have that agreement. Doesn't have to
Mhm.
be alignment, but at least we know, like to your point, hey, we're rowing in the same direction. So
Mhm.
let's row together. So,
I agree. And speaking of Scott Jones, he says I'm in the boat with Kevin. So yes, Scott.
hello, Scott. Great to have you with us.
And then Teresa also says hello or hi, and
Hi,
welcome,
Teresa.
Teresa, for listening in. Again, if you have any comments or questions while we were speaking, please feel free to put them up. That's the reason why we do these live streams, so that we can interact with you, and you guys, your questions are why we're here. So let's talk about the ABCs that you spoke about. And you actually said that you did a video on this on day 2. And I was joking before this. I was like, "Oh, what day? What week is this?" I was like, "It's 6, 7, 8." And he's like, "No, it's day 54." And so,
Yeah. So, Emily, I don't know why. I started tracking days. So this Wednesday, we will complete week 8. It will be, day 56 of the declared global pandemic. I think when I thought it started doing that, it was for my sanity, because I'm thinking, well, what can there be? 15, 20, 28, 30 days. We can get through 30 days. I mean, we're champions. And it's like, oh, it's day 54 and there's no end in sight. It's kind of like, oh. Um, but on day 2, my wife and I, Gwen and I, we were about to head away to North Carolina for the weekend. But that morning, there were just thoughts stirring in my mind and on my heart. So I got up and I just jotted this simple outline, and I hit record and recorded a video. And I just talked about the ABCs, and specifically talking about leading. So let me just contextualize that every person watching this is leading in some domain through this pandemic. I am not just talking to CEOs, senior managers, people with president or,
Mhm.
division director. No, everyone's leading. So here are what to me are simple ABCs of how we lead through crisis, and really how we lead to help others flourish. So A, what if you and I recognize we have both the opportunity and the responsibility to be an ambassador of authentic love, compassion, care, and kindness?
I love that.
that to be an ambassador, right? An ambassador is someone that represents something, some country, some entity to other people. If you're in a leadership role for your family, let's just shower our family with authentic love, compassion, care, and kindness. If you're in any kind of leadership role in an organization, the number one question your people are asking when they come into work today is, will I be safe today?
Mhm.
And does my leader care for my personal well-being and safety? Right? So if you make that known, if you just let that be known that you care for people, that you have this genuine love. So Friday I was on a call with a dear friend in the UK, and she's worked at home for years, but her husband's now working at home. And she said he was on his once weekly 20-minute staff call. 20 minutes, in time of crisis. And this team, and she just happened to be walking through the room as it was starting. And the leader of the group says, "Hey, let's get started. Is everybody okay today?"
Ah.
How do you answer that question? There's only one answer he's looking for. Yes, let's continue. Yes, what's next? Let's go on with the agenda, right? It's just like, is everybody okay? There is an assumed response to that I'm okay, you're okay, let's get on to business. Rather
Mhm.
than, hey, let's check in with everybody. Let's do a quick around the room. Let's check in. How are you doing today? Scale of 1 to 10, or hey, what word would best characterize your week or your time since we were last together? What's the week been like? Or what, any of these things to really kind of vet out. I mean, like you and I were talking, a friend of ours was hit by a vehicle yesterday.
Yes.
Gosh. That and texted us, and this morning, 7:30, I'm reading this oh my gosh, my heart goes out to her. 2
Mhm.
friends messaged me yesterday telling me that their mothers, one's in Sweden, one's in the UK, one's mother was admitted to the hospital, one's on the way to the hospital. Guess what? They can't go be with them because of coronavirus or COVID restrictions. How are they at this moment?
Mhm.
They need someone to say, "Hey, tell me what's going on." Hey, and remember, the next time you talk to, "Hey, how's your mom?" I mean, I sent my
Mhm.
friend, David, a message. "Hey, buddy, I'm checking on you. Any updates today?" Right? That's what people wanna know. They wanna know that you care. You've heard this. I mean, this is nothing new to me. I didn't create this thing, but people don't care how much you know until they first know how much you care.
Mhm.
And unless leaders really genuinely, and if it's not authentic, that's why I say authentic love. If it's not authentic love, just leave the question out.
Mhm.
But if you really connect with your people and just convey empathy from the heart and ask about them, they know you've got their back.
And I love that too, because the one word that you speak about is love. And that's something that I'm big on on talking about because, as somebody that's a physiologist, like I bring it back down to love is actually, it's called oxytocin and it's actually created with trust. But the cool part about it is that love is created with patience, kindness, honesty, understanding, non-judgmental. It's not this where we have to feel like this ooey gooey,
Yeah.
like romantic love, because that's actually called a dopamine release. But the reality of it is that people are sometimes less willing to bring love into the equation at work when
Mhm.
it needs to be there because we're humans. That's what we're made for, to trust, to
Yeah.
love, to bring that safety.
So if I
So
could create a hashtag, it would be love belongs, right?
yes.
Love belongs at work. Let's talk, love belongs. You may not be comfortable, you watching may not be comfortable using the language of love at work. I have people I have utmost respect for, CEOs, that they don't use the language of love, but they do love. They talk about care is
Mhm.
how some of them refer to
Yeah.
it. That's okay, but they're still loving. I know these folks, they are loving. So if you can use love, that's great. But if you're not comfortable using love, at least do love.
Yes. So true. And it's the thing is actions will speak louder to word than words, especially in the ambassador aspect of it. Because you can say a lot of things, but again, if it's not that authentic, because
Yeah.
love usually is given without sound, in my opinion.
Oh,
And
yeah, I agree. I agree.
And so next thing that we can go on is to the B.
The
What
B.
about the B?
Be a beacon of hope and a bridge of belonging. There's something else. I just Emily, I realize I've been asking this question all of my life when I've entered environments, and I realize it's pretty much hardwired in all of us. Do I belong here? When we go into an environment, we're looking for clues. Do I belong here? And when you recognize that if you're in a leadership role, one of the opportunities you have is to help everybody recognize they have a place of belonging. And when people feel they belong, they'll be their best. And then this beacon of hope right now, more than any other time, people need hope. As my friend Bob Chapman, CEO of Barry Waymiller Company, says,
Love him.
he wrote the book Everybody Matters. Leaders have a responsibility to provide a grounded sense of hope for a better future. And that's this beacon of hope, right? And the other way Bob says it is, you got to have your feet on the ground. So you're not just sounding Pollyanna-ish, but your head in the clouds. You're seeing beyond, you're seeing hope. And then that reminds me of one of my favorite quotations from Anne Lamott, who says lighthouses don't go running all over an island looking for boats to save. They just stand there shining, right? So as this beacon, you're just being who you are, and you're radiating hope. And hope comes from love, right? And anyway, so be a beacon of hope, a bridge of belonging.
I love that. Oh, that makes me so. And there's so many things I can go into that. I do want to pop up these comments from Bench Builders, which is Mike O'Neill and Rhonda, their team. Kevin is hard not to love. Amen to that one. Somebody put, we are losing compassion towards each other. It is in some, and I guess that's the reason why I do this, because sometimes whenever you get into the corporates, whenever you get into those environments, it's hard to see. It really is. So it's just a little that we can do to be able to change the narrative that compassion is, it's not comparison, it's compassion that we need. And compassion is that we're collectively going better together as a team. So what would you say on that one?
Whew. I hope. Now I understand challenges in corporations. I spent 15 years in the corporate world, and like many of my friends, are corporate refugees. Left that world because it was hard and cruel. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. And I'm a big advocate. I do a lot of work around servant leadership. And I love the phrase Robert Greenleaf. I think he actually used this phrase. I know I got it from his writings, but and I saw this, and I've worked for people like this, and I've been this leader to other people, that you are an umbrella for the people under you. Now, maybe there's still some stuff coming from above that's not pleasant, and folks, just some of the harshness. But as a leader, you can be an umbrella and protect your people. You don't have to pass that on, even if you receive it. And hopefully you can model a way. One of the things I would say, Emily, I love it when folks start looking and they see a department that's been led with love, and they see it as such a bright light in the company, better results, better outcomes. And all of a sudden people start asking, hey, what are they doing different over there? Let's go figure that out. And when they get there, they figure out, oh, they're caring for people. They're loving people. The majority of leaders that I've worked with, Raj Sisodia has a great new book out. He's my guest on the podcast coming out tomorrow, The Healing Organization. And they profile like 15 organizations in this book that took care of their people because it was the right thing to do. But guess what? They produced stellar results as a result of taking care of their people. They didn't take care of their people as a shortcut to get a result. But when they did the right thing, they found out, wow, guess what? So what I said the other day in the Humans First rally day, business thrives when and where humans flourish.
I
Business
agree.
thrives. So
And I'll say on that end that I've been blessed on my aspect, and I've said this in previous live streams, that my father he has a successful global business, and his thing he has always said is that your bank account will reflect about how much you care for your people.
Yeah.
And then he passed that on to me, and looking at the aspects of caring for people, because I've been blessed to be named top 10 in the nation at what I do. And I've been blessed to get honors. And I will tell you, every bit of those was focusing on people. We never looked at the profits, but in the end result, we were averaging saving $1 million
Yeah.
per year.
Wow.
But we didn't even care about it. We didn't.
Yeah.
It was a win-win situation, but it
Yep.
happens that way
Yeah.
whenever you focus on it. So I do have to bring what Scott Jones said. Awesome description. Love is given without sound.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott. And so let's get to our final one, C.
Yeah. So A was be an ambassador of authentic love, compassion, care, and kindness. B, be a beacon of hope and a bridge of belonging. C. Oh, and I'd never expressed it this way before, but this just hit me. Be a cushion of calm in a sea of chaos.
Amen.
Be a cushion, because right now, every single day, there's just so much bizarre news, bad news, different things happening, all these things that are just coming, and your people are spinning, their heads are spinning, their lives are spinning, and they need a place where they can go to find a cushion of calm, somewhere soft to land, somewhere soft to sit down, and all of a sudden they realize, hey, the world's crazy. But here's here's an oasis of calm right now.
Oh, it's so good. And I will say that the leaders that I remember the most, that have had the most impact on me, is the ones that seem to be in the storms. They were that.
Yeah.
They were that calm. They were. And I will say that is something that is a learned experience too. I feel like you have to be able to go through. Again, another example I have is not a few weeks ago, somebody's server crashed, and like everybody else was freaking out, but the leader was just like, it's okay. We'll get this. And I'm like,
yeah. So Jim Kouzes and Barry Posner, they wrote the book, The Leadership Challenge. They've written other books, but my favorite line from The Leadership Challenge is this: leadership is needed more in times of uncertainty than in times of calm, right? Than in times of settledness. Leadership is needed more when things are crazy. Things are crazy now. So it really is a call for you to be a leader, to step up and lead this way. So the question, or the comment I'd make here, I know we're kind of like out of time, but to be the leader that your people need you to be, you got to remember to make time and take time for self-care and soul care. Right? Because it's what's soul care? Soul care is self-care for the heart. Right? And what we are doing now, every leader I know, they are emptying themselves on behalf of the people they serve. They're pouring out day after day, pouring into people, giving hope, giving love, showing care, concern, being that for the people they lead. So who's doing that for you? Right? Where are you finding that place? And even it's just 5-10 minutes a day, or maybe longer, once a week or something, but you're finding a place where you are being refilled, restored, replenished, so that you are fresh, because you can't give what you don't have.
You can't pour. I say can't pour from an empty cup, and there's too many of us. And again, I just want to reflect on that for a second, that what you said from the beginning, to bring it back, is that it does not matter where you're at, you are a leader, because you may be a leader of influence or authority or both. You still are a leader. If you have kids, if you are a kid, you can still be a leader. If you are an adult, if you're a teenager, there you have people that you can influence and that you can lead, no matter where you are at in the game of life, and making sure that you continue. And that's just what I love, the ABCs, the being the ambassador, the bridge and the beacon, and also the cushion for calm. Those are such life-giving, and that's what the goal of this is, to spread life. And those lessons or things I wish that really would have resonated with me whenever I was younger. So some life experiences wouldn't have happened as they did. But it's something that is so needed, and you can start today.
Start today.
Wherever you're at, you can start today. And I'm so grateful for you, Kevin. You are such a big-hearted, kind, but wise and intelligent person that I'm blessed that is in my life, and that you agreed to come on here.
Thanks, Emily. My pleasure to be here with you and with Scott, and was it Michelle?
Teresa, and then Kevin and Rhonda and Muhammad. There's a few other people on here as well. So we appreciate you all for showing up. And for the ones that didn't comment or will be viewing this later, we are so grateful for you as we continue this series of surviving quarantine by spreading life. We are excited for the upcoming weeks. And like you said, we're in day, 54?
54.
So it's going to continue.
That's right. Thank you, Emily. My pleasure to be with you. Be with you here.
Everybody have an awesome and blessed day.